We struck the returns arrangement with France, and notwithstanding the challenges to that scheme, which you've seen in the last few days, a flight went off at 6:15 this morning, successfully returning someone under that scheme.
Jack Ellison from The Sun. Mr. President, in the 9 months you've been in office, you've been incredibly successful in all but eliminating crossings on your southern border. Yeah. Meanwhile, illegal migration is at record levels in Britain. The Prime Minister is trying to tackle that. What advice would you give to the man standing next to you on trying to stop illegal migration in Britain?
So we had millions of people flowing in, totally unchecked, totally unvetted from the Biden administration. 25 million, in my opinion, that would be about 25 million. They came from prisons, they came from mental institutions, they were gang members, they were drug dealers, they came from the Congo, they came from all parts of South America, they came from everywhere. Think of it, prisons from the Congo being released into the United States, prisons opened up in Venezuela and many other countries pouring into the United States. And I couldn't believe it. And one of the reasons I decided to run. I decided to run because I don't want to be controversial, but you see what's happened and you see all the information that's come out. We won in 2020 big. And I said, let's run, we got to run, because I saw what was happening. And the worst thing that I saw was all of these people. You know, we've already solved inflation. We've solved prices. Oil is way down. Energy is way down in the United States. But what I saw happening with millions of people pouring into our country, I couldn't stand to watch it. And we've done a great job. Nobody, if you've seen the last, I appreciate your question, by the way, nobody, absolutely zero, and I'm not even sure that's possible, but it's a very liberal group that come out with those statistics. The last 3 months, we had zero. From millions of people a year ago, we had zero people enter our country illegally. And we do have people coming in legally through a legal process and testing and lots of other things. I think it's very important, and we speak about it. And I think your situation is very similar. You know, you have people coming in, and I told the Prime Minister I would stop it. And it doesn't matter if you call out the military, it doesn't matter what means you use, but it's going to destroys countries from within. And we're actually now removing a lot of the people that very hard chore. We were given a very, very bad hand. Millions of people came in from prisons and mental institutions. We have to remove them. And we are removing them. We have no choice. And I feel very strongly about it. Thank you very much.
Jack, let me just deal with the question of returns, because this is obviously an issue we're taking incredibly seriously. We've struck a number of deals both on cooperation with other countries, because this is a problem right across Europe, to tackle the problem of actually breaking up the gangs that are running this trade. We have had a record number of returns, over 35,000 now since we came into office. That's the highest number for the best part of 10 years. We struck the returns arrangement with France, and notwithstanding the challenges to that scheme, which you've seen in the last few days, a flight went off at 6:15 this morning, successfully returning someone under that scheme. So that is an important step forward. Obviously, there's no silver bullet here. There's a range of things that need to be done. But given the challenges of returning people, it is important that we're able to prove it can be done. It was done. It was done early this morning. So I can confirm that that flight went. It went successfully. And I'm pleased about that. Now we need to ramp that up at scale, which was always envisaged under the scheme. But it's very important that we have been able to prove that the proof of concept, if you like, that this can be done, and will continue in that way.
A little while later.
This is really, really interesting. I love this, and I would love you, because I haven't heard it from any Labour politician yet, and I keep wanting it to come. Can you tell me what we gain as a country when we're trying to get our numbers down from this scheme? Can you explain it to me?
So this scheme isn't about getting numbers down, because it's one in, one out.
Right.
Well,
So
it's supposed to be a deterrent.
It's a deterrent, yes. In the long term,
it's not
yes.
one in, one out either. That's the
term.
problem. It's 400 in and 2 outs.
Well, it's worse than that, actually, because the one that comes in, we've got somebody in the country who apparently doesn't have a right to be here, so we give them to France, when actually what we should be doing is sending them back to where they came from. Then we take someone from France who actually apparently does have a right to be here, so we give them settled status, and they then bring their 8 family members. It's not one in, one out.
God, it's doom and gloom and Sturm and Drang. Why are we all being so downbeat? You want wanted this to be solved, and we've got the first person leaving.
Okay, listen.
That, for you, is something to celebrate.
We struck the returns arrangement with France, and notwithstanding the challenges to that scheme, which you've seen in the last few days, a flight went off at 6:15 this morning, successfully returning someone under that scheme.
We all knew, of course, Keir Starmer is famously a human rights lawyer. He cut his teeth on human rights law as a barrister before he became the Director of Public Prosecutions. What isn't so well known is he wrote the book on it. Here it is. It's called, as you can see there, European Human Rights Law, the Human Rights Act 1998 and the European Convention on Human Rights. You see him there on screen, a youthful Keir Starmer with his book. We've got a copy of it here. In this book, it basically serves as a manual for judges and lawyers on how to interpret human rights law when the law came in under Tony Blair's government back in 1998. In the introduction, Sir Keir Starmer wrote this: above all else, the HRA, the Human Rights Act, represents a new way of thinking about law, politics, and the relationship between public authorities and individuals. He goes on, its potential is enormous. Its effectiveness depends on the combined willingness of all of us to approach decision-making from a human rights perspective. Now, why this matters is this. The ECHR, the European Convention on Human Rights, in this country, the Human Rights Act, that is being used by people not to be returned to where they've come from. Illegally arrived migrants are using what's called Article 8 of this ECHR, to right to a family life, right to a private life, to frustrate attempts by the government to send people back to where they came from. Now, the government, the Labour government, says it's looking to tweak and change Article 8 of the Human Rights Act. We've heard some strong language from Shabana Mahmood. She, of course, is the Home Secretary. She's criticised the UK's maximalist and extreme interpretation of the ECHR, and suggested that that this ECHR, the European Court in Strasbourg, is losing public confidence and needs reform. Nigel Farage, the Reform UK leader, he's been critical. He says that Keir Starmer wants to reform human rights law, but he wrote what he calls a how-to manual on how to use human rights law.
We struck the returns arrangement with France, and notwithstanding the challenges to that scheme, which you've seen in the last few days, a flight went off at 6:15 this morning, successfully returning someone under that scheme.
We've got the first person leaving.
Okay, listen.
That, for you, is something to celebrate.
Listen,
No.